It's just a speck, right?
Sorry about that.
Hey, Spurs.
Hello.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Can you see what Chris has been doing?
No, what's happening?
Can you see the screen share?
Yeah.
I'm recording this, so just in case he ends up disproving or proving something during this demonstration, but from what I can establish, Chris is about to plot out the transits of the ISS against the moon to see if you're right.
Okay. So I was wrong. It can go that way, yes?
We don't know yet. We're about to find out.
It should come in, if you're looking east, it would come in from the top, basically the top, and go down this way, right? If you're standing basically up north of the so-called equator. And I guess you would tilt, if you tilted your camera so that you're level with the ground, it would be going left to right, basically left to right across the moon this way, right? Basically from this top down on an angle. In that direction, and that would be reversed going west, right? If you're looking west at moonrise, it would just be doing the same thing, only basically coming from the bottom up, I guess it would be. Because we look down from the top here and just watch the path of it. You can see how it goes around in a circle like that, right? So it's always going west to east, and or yeah, basically like that.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the paths you would see, right? You could triangulate to those.
That dot is the path of the ISS, yes?
Yep. Yeah, basically it goes around 16 times a day. This is actually traveling a little slow. When you put it to 16 revolutions per day, it's just screaming around there. It's just like a flash, right? I couldn't even catch it in the camera at 60 frames a second, right?
So
But
this is going against Earth's rotation or with?
It would go kind of with in orbit. So, yeah. See, because it goes around 16 times a day, and then the moon is just tracking. You can see how slow the moon's tracking. So the moon does one revolution every 30 days. The Earth's going around once a day, and the ISS is going around the Earth 16 times a day. It's just screaming, right? 27,000 miles an hour, supposedly. Now you can see it starting to track through the moon here. The little white dot will appear every time it goes by. It'll flash in the camera.
Oh,
My
yes,
arrow is there.
Yes.
Okay.
That is amazing. So, does it, because I was looking at the thing and it said the moon was something like 30 degrees and the ISS only went at 18 degrees.
30 degrees.
Well, I'm not sure. I was just, someone else was saying, but are you showing that it can go both directions, Chris? Yeah.
Let's see if I go back to the back here. Depends what time of the month it is, I guess.
They're both the observations were taken about a month apart. One from Texas, one from Florida, and they're going in different directions. Well, not different directions. I would say about 90 degrees to each other.
Cursor to center.
So the explanation for that on the globe model would be that it's not the satellite going up its orbit; it's coming back down the other side.
Yeah, there'd be basically two positions you could look at it, right? You can look at it from that position and then over here on the back side. Let's see if I can rotate that camera. Let's see. Should be, no, it's tracking the moon. That's what's going on. Yeah, right now I got it set to track the moon because it's easier. But it should go around there though. Let's see. Now, if I just turn the earth off, we'll just turn it off so we can see through it. Hide that. See which way it's going on the backside here. So now you're on the backside, on the other side of the orbit, right? So it would be going from the bottom right to the top left exit point, or right to left if you rotate that camera 90 degrees, right, it'd be going right to left. If I stop that and kind of back it up a bit. Okay, so it should be tracking that way, right? It would cross the moon.
From right to left?
Going from the bottom up this way.
But we saw the other way, yes?
Well, it depends if you're looking east or west, right? And which side of the orbit you'd be on if you're on the other side. Because there'd be one, like half the month at nighttime, it would be going down, like from the top down. The other half is going from the bottom up. So you'd have like a crisscross.
Can you show Spurs the problem? Can you show Chris the problem, please, Spurs? So if you can just stop sharing for a second, Chris, and if you can just queue up your video, Spurs, and just show what the problem is, because I think this is coincidence that Chris has actually been modelling this, but it's very, very, very apt that we've got you with a problem in terms of how the two different transits of the ISS have been captured. So if we can see it, then maybe Chris will understand what you're trying to ask him.
Hold on, let me pull it up then.
Yeah, if you can share it.
Hold on, I'm just trying to find. Where is it? So, what? I just put it in the.
No, this is
I don't have to do the whole video. This is the picture here.
We can't see it.
So this is what I was looking.
We can't see it. So if you click plus and just share it.
Oh, okay. I'll share it. Yeah.
What is interesting, though, and I'm not sure what this proves yet. I'll show you this real quick. I just want to show Anthony this because, okay, go ahead with your video there.
Well, it's not. I don't need to play the video because it's just how I understood. I thought it would how it was, right? So we've got the path of the ISS going this direction and the path going this direction. So they're in the same location almost. We've got Florida and Texas. So I was just trying to understand or work out, is this possible? As far as I understood, you're looking at the same place. So if you were to follow that trajectory, it should always end up that way. If it's going to go horizontal. So the question is, are they going in two different directions? And if they're not, how do we show that it's possible for Texas, Florida to get two different directions, November and in December?
A month apart, right? Let's just see.
Yeah, a month apart, yeah.
Thanks, Spurs. Can you stop sharing now?
Okay.
Just we only get one at a time on Skype.
So let's just take the earth out of it here.
I mean, I'm hearing it's possible, so it could be possible. I just want to see how it's done. And then, like I said, on that day, the moon was at 30 degrees, and the ISS, the highest point on that day was 18 degrees. So there is another problem because it didn't even actually reach the moon. It made like an arc, like a rainbow. So I don't know. It needs looking into. So hopefully Chris can work it out with this fantastic program.
So that's going from the top. So that's left to right.
We can't see your screen at the moment, Chris.
I'm just trying to think in my head here a little bit too, how I can turn that camera around and still maintain the target. But let's see. It might be easier to figure it out that way.
Well, if we take one of the ISSs and just can we kind of like look at and follow the path and then see, or it doesn't work like that?
Oh yeah, that's what this is doing. Yeah, like it's. Right, so this path here, this is the ISS going around the ball, right? And when we run it through its cycle, it's easier if you have the ball on, probably. Where did I put it? This cube. Let's see. There we go. Let's try this. Open. Sometimes it's a little glitchy, but new material. So there's the ISS compared to the moon.
This is what Florida saw, or Texas.
But it could be anywhere, right? Anywhere along that line of latitude, right?
Okay,
Doesn't
so it would
matter
be
if
the
you're
same for all. Yeah, okay, I understand.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're in Africa, Texas, Florida. It doesn't matter as long as it's the
Why
right
not?
time of the month.
Why not? Why doesn't it matter?
Well, because the ISS is always on the same path, right? Right. So it's doing a loop around the ball, and the ball's spinning within that orbit, right? So you can see it makes like this, like you're winding string around the ball, right?
But are you making this go over the North Pole?
Not quite, no.
Oh, not quite. Okay.
No, because it actually doesn't. It kind of loops. So you'd end up with a circle on the north, right, where it doesn't actually travel, and it doesn't hit the south either, right? It kind of avoids those two, so it's going at a bit of an angle, right, which is what it really does, supposedly. Right, so as it goes around, you would see that you'll get this path across North America, where it's coming in from the northwest through Alaska down through Florida, right? Right, so if you caught it, if your camera was looking that way, right,
North
to the north, then it would be basically coming. It would appear to come from the bottom up this way, right? And if you're looking that way, it comes
right to left.
going that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And what about in Texas? The same thing.
It would be the same thing. Yeah.
But then Texas saw it, absolutely horizontal, left, right to left. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, watch when it comes around, like on this part of the month, you'd see it coming in from the north, right? And then this other part of the month here, if you spin around and look from the top, it comes in from the south going north, just for a couple of loops, right? Through Florida, it would pass right there, like south headed northeast, right? First it goes south, northeast, then west, north, south, like west of the south, right? Northwest of the south. See, right there. So if I bring this, let's see if I can do it this way. I'll make this a little bit bigger. So you would have...
It's a bit too quick, the ISS.
It is pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try and do it one frame at a time here.
So correct me if I'm wrong, is your conclusion, Chris, that it should transit exactly the same regardless of if you're in Texas or Florida?
Well, it depends on the time of day, and like the ISS is constant, right?
No, sorry, stop. That's the wrong question, because we're asking. I understand in the daytime it can go any kind of, you can see it in various directions, but we're talking about at night with the moon in this position. Could the moon be in a different position to see it upside down or in a different way? So it's not. It's just basically if you go out at night and you record the moon from that line of Florida, Texas. Are you saying it should always come that way, or it's possible you can see it in the opposite direction?
Let's see, Grease pencil. Well, you'd see it going this way, right, on this path, and then later on in the same, about 12 revolutions later, basically the same day almost after 12 revolutions, you'd see it coming again, going this way.
Yeah, as I've stated in my video, that's possible for me. Yeah, but not.
And then later on in the month, let's see, which way does it go? Let's let it run again.
You excited, Spurs? You're about to get your answer.
I'm still not sure there, because they're talking about the azimuthal, saying that we're not understanding this azimuthal, or but this looks to me, this is for me anyway, it's what I suspected, that it can only do like what Chris is showing, which I showed in the video, crisscross, because Reg was saying, he asked, it can crisscross, can't it, Sean?
Yeah, I don't see any other points.
Wow. So it looks like I'm asking the question, and if Chris is saying that, you're right, it cannot. That pretty much answers it, because this is the best that I've seen anyone attempt to do it. Obviously I was crude with the paint. Curb didn't even want to attempt. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to see what it's doing later on in the month, so I fast forwarded to a later time in the month relative to the camera. Obviously, the camera can't see through the Earth, but basically, you'd be standing in North America again. Yeah, no, I don't see it doing anything different. No. See, I would think logic would tell me, basically like basic logic, if I go back to the first here, and we assume that, which as they say is the Earth is 1 revolution per day, right? 23-degree angle, and the ISS is a constant speed, and it's been set into a geosynchronous orbit going around 16 times a day. That path will never change. Right, so let's say for an example, it crosses the United States. Let's see. Let's count it out. Let's see if I can count it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 8 to 10 times a day, or whatever, half of the cycle. Right, that would make sense. If it's 16 times a day, it should cross US 8 times a day, right? Once in the morning, once at night type of deal, or whatever, 4 in the morning, 4 at night. You have 4 chances to catch it. I would think that would make sense, right? So that's a constant. So if those two paths are established, let's say you've got the ISS map for the United States specifically, would be like 1 in the morning, 2, 3, for, like it's doing this type of thing, right? Now there's one that comes through in Florida, right? So you should be able to find a point on the U.S. map where it's going to basically cross all the time. There should be a center point where you'd have the best luck of finding it, right? Right. You should always cross those paths every day, 8 times a day, right? It'll never change.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm in absolute
The best thing to
shock.
do, Spurs, is now reassess the footage. So if you've got the side-by-side of the 2 transits to play...
Yes.
You display those, and let's have a look at those. Now let's reassess whether or not that's possible. Will it be close?
Where is it? Video. Okay. That. So okay. What? Share my screen, right? Share screen. Okay.
Looking at the moon.
Yep, you're sharing. Great.
Come on, just the side by side, yeah?
Yeah,
to play.
Yeah? Perfect.
Okay. That was a bit quick. Well, that was a terrible sync. I'm not a professional, so kind of worked out in the end there, I think.
So you get one right to left, one left to right.
That's
So
how I see it. There.
One entering at say 5 o'clock, exiting at 11. One coming in at so one coming in at 7, exiting at 1.
I think what made me want to look at this in the first place was to see if it was real. I've never really looked at them before, reds. So I was trying to observe it. I was slowing it down and that kind of thing. And then I thought, let me just check it next to another one to see, if it's the same thing. So this is absolutely in your model. What you're showing us, Chris, they're going in completely different directions. Or is it possible? They're saying it's possible to do this and this.
Yeah, this is what an orbit on a spinning body would look like. Yeah, those would be the paths right there. Right, if I pause it over the U.S., right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, it goes.
We don't see your screen at the moment, Chris. Do you want to share again?
Yeah, I'm going to stop my screen now.
Yeah, no worries. It's like this on Skype. It's all good.
Are we live?
We're not live, but I'm recording it in case we could discover anything interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Yeah, so through the course of the day, those are the paths, roughly. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that type of deal. Right, you come in from the south, so if you'd have to be looking to the southwest to see it in like a morning shot type of deal and catch it coming, or early moonrise, right? Right, southwest, you'd look southwest, it would cross over Florida going that way, and then later on come from the north out of Alaska down towards Texas, going the opposite direction.
This is phenomenal,
possible.
Chris.
So it is possible. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I would say so. Yeah,
it is possible on the sphere. That's your answer. You can easily replicate it. Chris has just done it, and you can do it on a sphere. There you go. There's your answer.
Oh, it can go up and down, and yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, this is in the same direction now.
Well, it's always like so. Here's coming up, right there goes south, right? South through Florida, exits in Canada, right? And here it comes out of.
Pause it over America, Alaska. Sorry. Let me have a look at that again.
All right, so I'll just try and do it one frame at a time. So make it a little bit bigger. All right, so it's going to come up out of the bottom of the ball here. So there, it's on the horizon headed towards Florida. Right, so it tracks basically through Mexico. Right, so it's tracking out of Mexico through Florida, exiting over into Brunswick, Canada, which is where I'm at.
This is what Red saw, yeah?
Red's
Somebody in Florida.
Is in Florida.
Yeah, he's in Florida. Is this what Red saw, right?
What direction was he facing?
Yeah.
Do you know?
They said he was west, but again, the camera was, directly up.
Yeah, so he would be looking west, right? So the camera would be on the ground looking west. Right, and it would
but it wasn't looking like that. It was looking more directly up to the sky. So the moon at that time was more to the south.
Yeah, it would be, yeah. Right, because the moon, relative, well, not in this particular spot here, but at the right time of month, the moon would be out that way, right? Always out at the equator because it tracks relative to the equator. Like if I speed this up, you see it goes around that way, right? See if I can find a spot where they kind of line up. Then for the other half of the month, you wouldn't be able to see it because the moon is now basically behind the wall, right? When the ISS passes over.
Are we saying the two videos, they're not in the different directions then?
No, we're saying that those two videos are possible to capture, and there's nothing skew-if or wrong in terms of how it maps out on a ball. It's perfectly feasible that it can work that way.
Yeah. Right, okay. So it can come up.
Yeah, you see, because you get one path where it comes up through Florida out of Canada. The next path comes down from Alaska down through Florida. It does a crisscross across the U.S. Yeah. Or any other northern country, right? And in the south, if you looked at it from the bottom, it's reverse, right?
Sorry, because I'm missing. Can you just show me the path of Texas and then show me the path of Red? That's what I want to see.
Right.
Like so when they were looking at the moon and it went from right to left, and then when they were looking at the moon, it went left to right.
Right. So I'll back it up a little bit. Where's the first crossing approximately? All right. So if I kind of look on the U.S. at that angle as straight as I can, zoom in a bit. Right. All right. So the path would be through Mexico, over Florida, and exit Newfoundland. Right. 1, 2. It's going that way. Then down through Russia. So it would go through Russia, down through the north, and exit South Russia through China. Right, that would be it in reverse. So that's the one.
While you've got that view, Chris, can you now put the camera in Florida and look up at the moon as it transits? So Spurs can see it replicated in CGI what Red captured.
I don't know if the moon is actually in that position at the moment here.
Nope.
See if I can find a place here.
I know it's a pain, I'm sorry.
Alright, are we looking at roughly the same place?
Because what I noticed earlier, Chris, when you were showing us this, was that you managed to get the transit to match up while we turned the globe off, which I'm sure that might not be the case, and it might just be a few more revolutions or a different part of the month that gets it to line up with the moon, but it'd be nice to see that it actually replicated in there.
Yeah, I'll see if I can actually put the camera, so the camera roughly, you want it in Florida, right? Right there, selection 2. Cursor. Camera's in Florida, looking at the moon. All right. Let's see what we got here for transits.
Can you make the moon bigger? Oh, sorry.
Here. bigger. All right, so it appears to be you'd be looking west. All right, so from Florida, I would say it should come in the moon footage. It should come in from the top 1 o'clock and go down that way if you're looking west. So we come in at 1 o'clock and exit at like 7. I'd say. Flashing again here. All right, you see it's tracking this way. Right. Coming in from the top, going down. Yeah, there it comes. Tracking from that direction. So basically, it's tracking like this across the moon that way. From Florida looking west. Now let's see if I can rotate that camera. So if I drew an imaginary box, let's see. What's the easiest way to see that? Looking that way at the moon. All right, so that means, let's see, I'll get this in different color here. Something easier to see. Right. All right, so if we were standing on a level surface of the Earth, supposedly, which doesn't exist, but whatever, and our camera was like this, and you were looking west. Let me see, let's do additive continuous. All right. Well, staying there anyway, you're looking west. In that direction is west. All right, so the ISS would be coming in this way. If you rotated that, it's hard to get your head around, but you're looking through that part of the camera. Maybe we can do it on this side. But you shouldn't be, though. It should be almost looking just like that, right? I would think. If you're on level ground, it wouldn't be that much different.
I think that pretty accurately replicates what he was doing. His camera's tilted right up. Obviously, according to him, he's got his feet on level ground.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, like you're on this line of latitude anywhere in the U.S. So it doesn't matter whether you're in Florida or Texas. It wouldn't matter. You're on the same line of latitude, right? Yeah. Okay, and basically, you're looking that way. And this camera, the angle here would actually be fairly level ground, right? I mean, it would be tilted a little bit, but so. just let that run. Yeah, so that would be crossing the moon basically that way. Make sense?
Hold on. So that's one path, yeah. Gone straight across from right to left.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can cross it at a 90 degrees. So you've seen the other path when he drew the other black lines admittedly on the globe, not on the moon. But if you just want to arbitrarily draw a 90-degree line to that, Chris, just to show the extreme opposite.
Yeah, basically at the other time of day, it would come in this way. Right?
There you go. There's your answer.
Right.
Nothing out of the ordinary on the globe model, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's the angle, because we let it play out here. You can see yeah, no matter what you do. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Let me highlight that ISS so you can see it tracking with the moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see what happens when it gets further on in the month here. One of the moons basically looking at us. See, now it's kind of going the other way, right? It's coming up.
I must be missing something completely because I can't see how, two people, like you said, in the same place looking. So it's like basically you're looking at one going in one direction, it goes around, but then it goes the other direction.
A month later, yeah.
Goes round. It's going that way.
Right,
the same. So every day, for example, let's say the moon returned in the same position, it would do the same thing again, and then it would do the same thing again.
For half a month, yeah. Then you have a day moon, right? Then the new moon. So, like, basically, if you line up a straight line of sight through the Earth, right, looking at the moon, and let the ISS go around it, you'll see the path, right? Right. So there's one path where it's crossing this way. So if I pause that and draw a line, so it's crossing the moon in this direction, right, from your line of sight looking at the moon. And then a month later, when you're around the other side, roughly, you're still looking at the moon. Let's see what happens here.
We changed size. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. See, now you're looking at the moon a month later, and let's see which way is it going now. Now it's coming this direction, going up this way. So you end up with one part of the month going this way, and one part of the month going that way. Yep. It's a flip.
But it didn't flip that way, though, did it? It flipped the other way.
Something's not right. It doesn't seem right. I don't see how. There's nothing flipped here. It's the same moon.
You're standing on Earth so you're standing on this side of the ball over here in North America, right? You're right here, looking up through the camera at the moon, right? And from your perspective, it's okay in this direction. It's traveling this way across the moon. So it's entering it at like whatever angle this is, going that way. Comes in at 4 o'clock and exit at 10, whatever, right? Right. So now what we do is we advance the animation until we're around here. Right, so we're just going to go around once more over here. And spin ourselves around and look at it this way. Let's see what happens. So now we've got our arrow that marks where it was before, going, now it's reversed, right? So
what's reversed? The moon, what I'm saying is...
I drew it, like I put it on the other side of the month, and I drew the line going from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Right?
What do you mean by the other side of the month? How many days later?
It'd be half 27.8 days or 27.6 days, whatever that is. 13.333.
To be the other side of what, exactly?
So that's what I'm trying to get to, Spurs. So are you saying that in order for this to occur, they have to be halfway apart in the month? Because they both took it in the same moon phase, as far as I was aware.
Right, so now we see, well, it depends on the see, now it's coming around. And it's going up that direction. So let's see what's happening when you're in North America. Let me pause that because it gets hard on the head. Which way is it going? So from your camera angle, let's draw another line. Camera angle rising this way, crossing the moon in that direction. Let's see. Let's do it again. On this side. I'll jog through it slow.
It seems to me that you're proving this is possible halfway through the month, though, Chris.
Halfway through, yeah. Yeah.
But this happened on the same... It's happened exactly a month apart. Is that right?
Yeah, November, December.
Both in the same moon phase.
Month apart.
Yeah.
One was November, one was December.
But
the issue...
This is what I was going to ask initially. So when you first replicated it, you had to turn off the Earth and went, oh yeah, well, to see it, we've got to turn off the Earth to see through it. So am I correct in my extrapolation that if you do it a full month apart, you would have to be looking through the Earth for the ISS to be going the other way? Because that seems like a stretch for me to conclude that.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, sorry.
So here, this part at this time of the month here, let me turn off the. I'll make them red again too. Let's see, grease pencil. No, because I'm getting old and blind, right?
No, take your time, because a few people work on it. So it's like a puzzle to figure out.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're gonna mark this time. So this is our start. Start again. I shouldn't take long to figure this out. So here we are. We're standing in basically Alaska, looking at the moon, and the ISS is doing its thing. And I'll just jog it real slow so we can see it. All right, so it's coming up through. Let's zoom in.
Isn't that over the poles?
Not quite, no. It's crossing like left, just over the top of, that would be Antarctica, and then left to Greenland, basically. So it's on an angle, right? Just doing this angle across. So let me get this angled up here. All right, so rising through Mexico, tip in Florida, Right, so our angle is that way. So it's crossing the moon in that direction.
The way it's supposed to, yeah?
So there's one shot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you say it was exactly a month apart.
Yeah, one is November, reds, and one was the 4th, and one was the 31st, I think.
27 days apart.
I'm not quite sure, but it was November, December, I know that for sure.
Yeah, that would make perfect sense. They're in the same phase.
Okay.
For me, nothing has changed. So it's just coming back around again. It could be the next day, and it shouldn't be different. It could be a month. I can't see how it can change that close.
It can't. Yeah, we can't. No.
So is that right then?
If they were a month apart, and the moon does 360 degrees, then the path would be the same every time, right? It should come across the moon consistently, coming this way a month later, right?
Oh wow! So my extrapolation was correct. So you could only do it halfway through the month, and you'd have to be able to see through the Earth.
Let's see. Technically, let's see.
No, you'd be able to do it every 90 minutes, wouldn't you? No, every 45 minutes, and then every 90 minutes they're on.
The angle will change over the course of a day, yeah. Because it crosses 16 times a day, so every 90 minutes it should zip by it.
Yeah, but to get it going the other way, you would need to be 45 minutes, and then wait for the timing of it to line back up again.
But the moon travels at 15 degrees per hour, right? So you'd only catch it like maybe once a day. You'd actually see it transit the moon if you're lucky, right? Like you'd have to be at the right position on the surface to actually make that happen, I think.
But isn't it perfectly plausible that you could have it transit on a different line a month later? That it could be a different part of its cycle when you happen to catch it transit the moon that month?
Okay, sorry, it was 2nd of December.
I don't think so.
It was the 2nd of December, and reds was the 4th of November.
I'm just trying to establish other possibilities for having it transit in a different direction a month later, and we're running out of options now, so we're getting there.
Okay, so that is...
And we haven't even taken into the account the degree of the moon, even if it can go that way. But for me, I can't see how it can. It's going to have to take, if you put a hula hoop around that Earth, and, you put a car on that hula hoop without crossing the north or south, you can't make that car go the other way.
So that transit's going this direction. So that's right to left, halfway through the month, right? If I back that up to where we were before. Right, that was our line of sight before. Yeah. It should be right. It's coming around this way from the bottom, rising up and going down. So if you're on the backside looking at the moon, it should be traveling in that direction like that arrow showed before, right? And then from this direction, halfway through the month. It's traveling that way. From the bottom up, left to right. Does that make sense?
So they've either one of them's faked the footage,
or it turned around,
or the ISS is doing something unexplainable in their two different pieces of footage, if they're both genuine. But so far, what I've seen Chris do is absolutely validate Red's footage. That's definitely possible.
No, hold on. But I want you to also put the Texas, because this is what I think we're doing. We're all jumping on Red like.
Well, it doesn't matter because you're on the same latitude. That wouldn't make any difference, right? The only way you would flip it is if you went south of the equator, supposedly, right? Texas to Florida is 2 or 3 degrees of latitude. That'd be no difference. Like I should see it pretty much tracked the same way you guys would from New Brunswick, and I'm 300, 800 miles away, just because I'm in the north, right?
Absolutely, that's been my thought. The same for everybody.
See, if you're in the north, it goes one way. That's it. Yeah, it's like the moon doesn't. The moon doesn't reverse. Right? Yeah.
So is that the correct conclusion? We've either got one piece of fake footage, or the ISS doing something it shouldn't be doing. Is that a correct conclusion? Silence.
Could be.
No one wants to draw a conclusion.
I'm just trying to figure. So, we got it here, right? I'm just going to put the arrows in, and then I'm going to mark this one. I'll mark it in 4 quadrants and see what happens here. Coming around the corner here. Okay, now we're in quadrant number 3. Watching the transit. Quadrant number 3 is this target transit. It is this way. 3 is that way. And then we go around to quadrant number 4. 90 degrees again. Right there. And we should pretty much see the opposite, which I would expect to see it going. That way. Down.
So I've just got to quickly go to the shop. So, I mean, what does it look like? It's correct, Chris? Is that what you're saying? It should go that way. We should expect to see that.
Yeah, you should get a crisscross in 4 quadrants. Yeah, right.
Opposite crisscross there.
Opposite crisscrosses. Yeah. So in this quadrant here, see, we started this way, right? So you end up with this path going from 4 to 10. Then the next 4 to 10, the next path would be going this way, I think it was. The next path went from
why do you keep on turning it? Why do you keep on turning it around? Can't you just keep it straight, like this, and then have the path? I think that's what confuses me, is like when people change or turn something.
Yeah, it's orbiting a sphere in their minds. This is modelling out what they say it's doing, Spurs. So we've got, a model of Earth and how it spins and how many times the ISS spins and the transits it takes. So you've got to rotate your position to see which way it traverses the Earth. And then you can get a comparison.
This is the thing, yeah. If I played it while it's animating, see, you'll go through the moon phases, right? And you can see you can't really see the ISS because it's too damn small. But that's the problem, right? Because you're on a moving surface, and it's moving too, and then the ISS is going the opposite direction. Right? So you have to rotate it to get the proper angles. When it's actually in motion. Unfortunately.
I've got a few questions, but I just need to run to the shop before I get into it. Are you going to be? Are you here for? Are you sticking with this, or are you going to be here, or things like that? For 10 minutes at least, 10, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
There's one path going that way down. That way. Stop renting. We'll just watch it. Kind of like watching paint dry. So which way is that going? Let's go that way. I wonder if I can do it a little easier, maybe. Let's see. Let's move the camera.
What are you giggling at?
Your video.
I'm recording this just in case we get somewhere. Just be aware.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right, I'll put myself on mute because I'm going to laugh too much.
Yeah, I knew what I was about to talk about. That's why I stopped him.
So that one is going that way. Right. Crossing the moon like this. Yeah, it just depends whether you're looking east or west, right? It's just an opposite. The other one comes in the other direction. So let's see. That one's going. Let's write that down. That's going from 7 to 2, we'll say. So we're looking west. Let's see. Hartbert's finding the moon.
What do you mean it works fine with the moon?
Oh, so the hard part's trying to find the moon. There. So we can see from now we're looking east. Right? All right, so east. And try to rotate. Which way is it rotating now? Looking through the camera that way. Going that way. Yep. That way. That's just a crisscross, isn't it? Makes sense.
You're saying it works? It's doing what it should do.
Well, if you're looking west, it would track, from those, from like what did I do, from 7 to 2, and this one's going from 11 down to 4. Basically, if you're looking west, it would track 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock. If you're looking east, it would go 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Opposite. One's going down, one's going up, right? Because in this direction, it's, if I do it slow, you can see how it's a weird angle. But see here, it should be tracking. Let me highlight that. There. So we're looking west. Through the camera, looking west, the moon's on the horizon. It would be tracking that way. Until you can't see the moon anymore, right? But so if I back it up a little bit, moon's going around, ISS is coming up and over the top. Tracking that way. So that's from 11 to 4-ish. And the other way we had going the other way from 7 to 2. It's just a reversal. Bring it around till the moon's around the other side. And zoom in on it. Now you're looking east at the moon. Now it comes in at 2 o'clock and exits. 2 o'clock and exits at 7. Is that not the opposite?
Yeah, I think I can see it really clearly now. It's you've demonstrated it on that left image really clearly.
Yeah.
So the conclusion is not an unexpected one. They'd figured it out sufficiently that you're not going to trick them up with a random observation of it. It's doing what it should do.
Yeah, it should. That's it. That's halfway through the month, though, right? That's the interesting part. That's only at a 90 degree. That's a 90-degree rotation, right?
So you're saying that it can only achieve that? Now I'm totally confused. It is the second conclusion that it can do it, but you have to be looking through the Earth in order to achieve it.
No, it can do it, but the total rotation. Or did I do it on 90 degrees? No, I guess I did. That was 180 degrees. Yeah, sorry. No, I did it right. It was 180 degrees swing, right? Yeah. Yeah. No, sorry. Didn't mean to confuse you. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's 180 degrees. It goes the other way. You get a 90-degree opposite. Yeah.
Okay, fine. That's a conclusion I'm happy with. So, yes,
yeah.
They've plotted it out sufficiently that you can just observe it at any time and it will make sense in their model. Of course.
Yeah.
Fine.
Of course. Yeah.
Happy days. No shocks. Good. I'd be surprised, though, if this ended up being something that you could use against them in terms of just observing the ISS transit the moon. It would make no sense that you could debunk the heliocentric model with something like that. No way.
No, you couldn't. No, I don't think so.
Cool. That's great. I think I'll stop.
But what was interesting was...
Sorry.
Let's see. I had that tracking the moon earlier. Let me reopen that file again. So...
I'll carry on recording for now, shall I? Shall I keep recording for a little bit?
Yeah, you can stop.
Stop recording.
Well, maybe this one's interesting. Yeah, you can stop if you like. Open recent.
Should I stop recording or not?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll stop recording there.